What is going on, everyone? My name's Boit. Your name, probably something different, but I don't want to judge. And we are going to be watching some Age Mythology retold action on this day and age. In the left-hand corner of the map, playing as the Blue Ra player from the tag team. His name is Recon. His opponent today in the red color, playing as Hades. His name is Matador, and he's from the Knock team. I'm not exactly sure what either of these stand for. Taiwan, Asian Gaming, maybe Nocturnal or something. Not sure. Someone help me. This is what Twitch chat's for. You're supposed to be like, no, it's this. Come on, guys. Anyways. Well, temple coming up now for Matador, as he's going to be going for this early Vaults of Erebus shenanigans. All right, I'm going to say it again because I don't feel like anybody heard me before. Do you think Vaults of Erebus is too strong? $200 wood, 15 favor, plus 2 gold per second for the rest of the game. At an average of players probably grabbing this by about 3 minutes. Let's say 3 minutes on average, they're getting this one. Maybe it's a little bit later. Let's just screw it. Let's say 4 minutes. And a game goes for 20 minutes on average, right? That's about an average time. This technology is getting a player. Quick math, carry the 1. 6 plus 10, 16 times 60. 16 times 120, actually. 16 times 120 gold. That's a lot of gold. Anyone else want to play some letters and numbers with me later? We can rack our brain about things. That's nearly 2,000 gold. Literally, that's a lot. That's like your home gold mine, but like almost again. Anyways, in the top of the map, we got some relics here. We got the Ring of the Nibelung, plus 0.5 gold per second. Over here, we've got this relic, the Scales of Echidna, with the food wood gold cost minus 15%. Over on this side of the myth units, I should say. Oh, we have Tusk of the Iron Boar. Arguably, one of the strongest relics actually in the game right now. Arguably. Especially when you're playing as the great god of the sun, Ra. Is that correct? Is Ra the god of the sun? Did I remember that correctly? You know, they told me that if I played Age of Mythology, I'd learn all about the history of the, all about the mythology, all about the gods and what they do, but Hades, I know that's the god of the underworld. Isis is the goddess of something or other. Anubis, no. Set is the trickster god. Loki is also the trickster god. God of the sun. Let's go. Told you, I'm read up on this stuff. Tusk of the Iron Boar doesn't buff Gullimbursty. That's because Gullimbursty is a hero, not a cavalry unit. See? You got to have the right tags. But nonetheless, we'll see how this game goes as we are seeing El Matador going for some funny business. He's got a big fat Ares coming and he wants to show Recon exactly what that means. Now, no restoration for the rest of this game, but Matador gets Prodromus. Really powerful Prodromus, which, you know, you might say, hey, Prodromus suck. They don't beat Chariot Archers. You know, they don't beat Camel Riders, really, if they're fully upgraded. Ra Camel Riders, if they're fully upgraded. You know, they die incredibly quickly to the Spearmen. And I say to you, they kind of beat Camel Rider. They kind of beat Chariot Archer. And it's a hell of a lot better to chase around a whole bunch of Camel Riders with Prodromus than it is to chase around a whole bunch of Camel Riders with hoplites. Am I wrong? Maybe I'm wrong. Village is on the way into the center of the map now. We are seeing both players grabbing this one. I think this is absolutely the correct way to open on Watering Hole for the vast majority of gods. Now, I've been thinking about this more and more. What is the purpose of building units early? Right? The natural answer to that question is, well, Sphinx down. The natural answer to that question is to inflict damage onto your opponent, right? That's the natural answer. And you'd be right if you said that. However, the deep answer is to take map control and prevent your opponent from taking specific locations on the map. On a map like Watering Hole, if I can prevent the rail play, I'm not saying it's possible or not possible, especially if you go for an early Vaults of Erebus, but if I can prevent the rail player from getting the center of the map, all of a sudden, I can take it. So while I lose out a little bit economically, so I fall a little bit behind my opponent economically, they're squished into their corner of the map and I get all the important resources in the center of the map. Now, I'm not even saying to stay one town center, as Mr. Bernard Flood is alluding to in the chat. I'm saying I want to build units. I want to force my opponent to take a back town center. I want to take the middle town centers and call it a day. As an idea. That's like one side of building units early. So there's a little bit more to it, I think, than just, well, can I get damage done or not? Right? A little bit more to it. Now, if I can get damage done, all the better. But basically every single map, it's important to prevent your opponent taking that forward town center. Basically every single one. Nonetheless, a couple of spearmen coming in here for recon. He says, hey, watch yourself in that center position there. I'm going to poke you with my spears. As an archery range gets dropped down, we are seeing some walls coming down over here, but this villager is very, very confused about what he wants to do here. As Recon pulls back, and now let's take a quick little look at what Recon gets from having these spearmen out. Well, he does protect himself from the Achilles raid, and we can catch this Achilles out. If he's fast enough, he's not fast enough though. Following that, he could come in and try and break down the wooden wall over here and enter into Matador's base, as Matador's going into the heroic age right now. Can't really raid this because the Sentinels are here. Can't raid this because the Talent Center is here. In the main base, we have Omniscience, so he can kind of point it out, but could hit this. That's almost gone, though. Could hit this. Can definitely hit this. Can kind of poke this. It's still underneath the Talent Center, and there could be some watchtowers that come through, but that's good value if you can force that out. Nonetheless, that one Cyclops is causing a lot of issues for Recon right now, as he has to bring forward 4 priests. And let me tell you a thing or two about a Cyclops. Let's just take a quick little look-see at the stats. 1,000 effective hack HP, plus the 20% that comes from, is it 20%? 10%? 20%? 15%? Plus the percent that comes from Hades, so probably 1,200 effective hack. Now, 690 HP does mean the priests are going to have a nice, you'd think they kill them off quite quickly, but at 690 HP, the priests here doing 5x, it's 2.4 times 5x. Still a long time to actually kill off that Cyclops regardless. Really, really powerful Deuterator. Now, the weakness of this unit is obviously that it's quite slow. And you can always just run away from it. So, not always. You can't always run away from it, but you can kind of run away from it. Anyways, does find a cheeky little Toxote here as up, and the spearman gets grabbed, and it gets pulled, and it survives. Smack, smack. As Apollo almost through, and it looks to me like Recon here, he's still throwing barracks down. Has a huge amount of villagers on food and gold, but has not clicked up to the next age. He's quite far behind on this, and he's probably going to be getting greeted by Deimos Sword of Dread, heavy Hypaspists, very, very soon. Now, we're already seeing Will of Kronos, which does make these Cyclops that already have some very enticing classical age stats into a incredibly powerful Deuterino here. As the spearmen coming in onto the left side, going to try and poke those villagers down. Units coming in onto the right side as we ask to look at the priest. There's how many priests there? How is still alive. He picks up the student. It gets the throw in. Huge damage in. More damage to come in as well as the spearman throws that through. The Toxody's getting gigantic value here as all of the spearmen melting on that front. All the spearmen melting on that front, and Recon gets a whole lot of nada done with that shenanigans. But what he does do is he brings some spearmen over here, and he's looking for a little something to do. Now, the next thing that Recon's got to be really careful with, and luckily for him, he probably has... No, he doesn't have it. The one thing he really has to be careful here is Elder Cyclops and throwing a villager. Now... I'm not 100% sure, as we are seeing an underworld passage to come through. The villagers are already retreating away very, very quick there from Recon. Now, I'm not exactly sure how it works, but I'm pretty sure you get an alert that your villagers are under attack once they take damage. So, if your opponent doesn't notice, you can come in with this Elder Cyclops. You can pick up a villager and throw it into the other pack of villagers, doing 65 hack damage, leaving a 55 HP villager with about 1 or 2 HP remaining onto that pack, and then you can whack them before your opponent has even managed to click over there and react. Really, really powerful stuff. The Cyclops raid. Don't knock it until you try it, especially with Poseidon, because those Cyclops are a little bit faster. Nonetheless, a fortress to come up here for Matador. And Recon now, still spamming out spearmen, has himself the slingers, but realistically he's probably going to want to transition into a little bit of a different army here as soon as he possibly can, but he does not have the gold just yet. Citadel Center gets dropped down onto the front. Upgrades are queued up, and it looks like he's sticking with the slingers. Now, at the moment, I don't mind this, just because it's pure Toxody at the moment, and there are some Peltas. Now, obviously, against pure Toxody, Chariot Archers, really, really good. But the thing that I worry about is the 4-speed slingers, the 3.6 speed priests. They're pretty slow. And these are going to do serious, great little split there from Rico. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? All right, never mind. The Cyclops is an absolutely useless unit. Just micro like Recon. Just be Recon. It's simple, guys. All you're going to do is like use that. Apparently, he's only got 60 APM. Use that 60 APM to perfectly split your army up such that your opponent misses the 3-point shot with your spearmen and your army stays alive. There you go. Beautiful play. But Matador, still incredibly powerful at this moment. Still no heavy slingers in, which will allow those Toxodies and everything else to do a lot of damage. As the Scarabs now coming through to try and take out the archer range. More Cyclops are actually in as the Enyo's Bow of Horror comes through. And as they always say, it's not how large the number of EAPM is, it's how you use it, okay? As the Spearmen here doing a great job. Once they get on top of those Toxodies, the Toxodies are really powerful, don't get me wrong. But once those Spearmen get on top of them, the Spearmen are doing great with some support. Those Slingers doing a huge amount of damage and all the other good stuff. There's some Priests here getting sniped down. The Villagers coming over to try and repair this one up as one Scarab ends up falling. One idea here for Recon could have been to actually heal those Scarabs up with the Priests. And he probably would have been able to take the town center down. However, decides, let's retreat back. Let's try and catch out those units. And he does manage to do so as a Cyclops comes through, gets off that throw. And yet again, fantastic retreat away from Recon. Great control thus far. As the Scarabs are back on to the town center. A couple of units here to start picking this off as an Ajax pops out. He's going to finish off at least one of those scarabs. Ajax with the garrison micro here, and Matador is holding on for the time being. There's all the priests up here just say time for some healing business. Over onto this side. Camel riders getting some damage done. There's a granary. Ends up falling over here. Villagers to move over onto the left side. Still more hunt. It's actually wild to me that Watering Hole has got these berries here. Like, for every other civ, it's like, it's just berries. It's fine. They're pretty good. But for Ra, you're just like, hang on. As if there wasn't enough hunt on this map. Let me just get a little more. Let me just get a little more hunt. Awesome. Temple onto the front here, though, for El Matador. He's going to say, time for a certain upgrade. He's already got it. Take a look at this HP. You thought the priest healing was good. Look at those bad boys. All very, very healthy as the first rain gets dropped down. How many farms up here? We've got ourselves a hefty amount. There's 41 villagers on food at the moment. 22 farms. That looks like that's it. Still a hefty amount of villagers on farms there. Plus the villagers on berries and hunt all over the map. As Recon still with mass slingers here. I'm surprised to see this amount of Toxotes at the moment here. Like, you'd expect if your opponent is going for slingers that the natural reaction would be to go away from Toxotes, one unit that is incredibly effective, or at least trades well against the slinger, is the Peltas, and we are seeing those coming through here for Matador, but Recon doing a fantastic job of cleaning up all those Toxotes. And then it's going to be Camel Rider, Slinger here. Now the Slingers will have themselves access to Slings of the Sun, which does allow them to be somewhat potent against the Hoplite. But that's the unit comp you need to build. Hoplite Peltas will be able to beat the Slinger Camel Rider to some degree. Especially if you're going to have access to some divine damage for those Hoplites to get even more damage onto the Camel Riders. You have to remember divine damage is also multiplied by that 1.25. So if you get 1 divine damage, that's going to be 1.25 divine damage per second, which isn't a small amount at all. As an attempt here for El Matador to break through this position. One thing here that El Matador is lacking, he's almost at full villages, but is definitely lacking, is no third town center. No third town center, and Recon is just sitting here with those Camel Riders saying, you're never going to take this. Not really. I got Eclipse. I got the Citadels to come through. I don't have any myth units at the moment, so I probably can't use Eclipse, but we could use Eclipse later. Nonetheless, some Camel Riders get built out here for Recon as Matador drops the Pestilence, tries to push through, but this front line is looking so strong. Look at 203 HP of Camel Rider at the moment as the Peltas moving forward. A little bit of miscontrol there from Matador. You have to snipe down those Slingers there, but he's doing a good job of it now as the Slingers are falling very, very quickly. One thing I wanted to make a point of it was Recon didn't auto queue out Camel Caravans. He said, I'm just going to build a handful. I need the food. I need the resources. I'm setting myself up for later. He manually queues them and he says just a little bit, and maybe he'll put them on auto queue a little bit later. But this Cyclops, he just ruins the farms as well. Luckily for Recon, his farms are very, very cheap. As now the Mythic Age hits, the Tornado gets dropped down. A decent split there from Matador, but he does end up losing a hefty amount of population, down to 145. He has to retreat back, rebuild all those dudes out. He's got Hoplites, he's got Cyclops, he's got Toxotes, there's the Peltas. All the good stuff is coming through for the time being here. As Recon is also stealing away gold from Matador. Now, this is a big deal. The more gold that Recon gets here and here, the closer to Matador's defeat, the closer Matador comes to defeat. And Recon's taking gold here. That's wild. Matador's got one large gold mine left at the moment. Now, he might come up onto this spot and get a little bit of this gold mine. But by the time he gets over here, this is probably going to be down to 3,000. It's such a huge, huge deal as a couple of spearmen come over and snipe down a village trying to eat some zebra. He's just a man. Had a wife, had a kid. A newly born kid as well. And all he's done is signed up for the government-run sort of program. He told his wife, I'm just going to go get some zebra. It's not a big deal. And he gets brutally murdered by two angry men holding spears. It's a sad day. Nonetheless, Recon's spearman gets sniped down. And the game continues. Hephaestus now on the way. We've got Elder Cyclops, Toxotes, Metropolis, all the other stuff queued up. Still hasn't grabbed this town center. How are the armory upgrades looking? I'm always interested in when people decide to go for this sort of an upgrade. So Hephaestus, you get that Forge of Olympus tech, which is making all your armory upgrades cheaper. Realistically, you don't save that much on copper because they're all kind of cheap. Like maybe you're saving, my guess would be about 100 to 150 resources off the top of my head. But yeah, once you get to bronze and iron, you start saving a hefty amount. So long as you haven't gotten those, I think Hephaestus is still on the menu. There's some camel riders trying to sneak through onto this side. Matador very quickly says, better get some towers up to scare those camel riders away. I'm not seeing any sort of wall upgrades coming through from Matador. Another wall to get built up behind the wall. Brutal. This is some old school defense from Matador as one tower is up. Doesn't have crenellations in just yet. And the Colossus is going to come over and try and defend. Without crenellations, these towers really don't do much to the 47% pierce armor of those camel riders. There's villagers getting sniped over here. Matador coming in onto this position. And the Toxotes on the way forward. Recon's army melts yet again, but I don't know where the rest... I mean, he's so spread out all the map. Look at this beautiful cage Recon's built. He's also got a Migdol stronghold over here. He's got everything he needs to just hold here. All he's got to do is just strangle. Just not... Basically, just has to take fights that are like pretty good. Doesn't even have to trade amazingly. Just pretty good fights. And Matador has to spend resources here to get this. He's almost out of gold. He doesn't have a trade route. He doesn't have the corners of his island, his back island or portion of land to build a trade route for, as Recon's got full control. The transport ship shenanigans from Recon in this game, awesome to see. Absolutely perfect sort of usage of that. But more Cyclops coming in. Another Pestilence gets dropped down. Recon does have a handful of buildings in his main base to continue production here as the 15 priests trying to remove those myth units. Doing a good job of it, but given the fact that more Cyclops keep coming out, here's the thing. This is the thing with playing against priests. How do you beat them? Answer is, when they're out, keep getting favor, build an extra temple, but don't build the Cyclops. Don't build the myth unit. Once you pick them off, build them all in a go, get them into your army. All of a sudden, your opponent's got no priest to deal with them, isn't building them because you're not building any myth units, and you've got a timing to get some good value for those myth units. So there's always, absolutely always an angle for myth units. so long as you're watching what your opponent's building. Now, because Matador keeps building Cyclops and Colossus, Recon feels like, well, I can keep building Priest. And yeah, now Recon has grabbed this town center as well to add insult to injury. Trying to take down the Citadel Center over here, but a couple of cheeky camel riders coming in, picking off 2 Petropoli there, 1 remaining as the Cyclops, it's almost going down. How much HP does a Mythic Age one have? 930. How much damage are you guys doing? 3.5 times 5. It's a lot of damage, but it's a lot of HP. This Matador still trying to micro to take out all those slingers. How much gold is left? 1,500. How much gold over here? 2,500. How much gold over here? 2,500. How much gold over here? 1,000. The other thing is, Recon still has Eclipse. Now, he hasn't done it just yet, but at any point, he's at four monuments, right? At any point here, he can just say, all right, I'm going to build myself a second temple, right? And I'm going to make myself 4 Avengers. Click Eclipse, and they can mow down an army. People don't realize how good the Avenger is because there's just so much other stuff to spend favor on when you go for Horus. But, man, that unit slaps. Build that. I mean, you could also go for, like, Sphinx at this point as well. They do have that Mythic Age boost, so they're not like they're a waste of resources. As Matador charges forward here, picking up the mercenary infantry, throwing it in onto the army. Little bits of damage coming in at this point. And I guess the other thing is the priests are kind of good against the shades as well. But Matador looks like he's still trading well. Still has... Oh, no, he's got no gold left. He's out of gold. He does have a plenty vault. And he does have Vaults of Erebus. So 6 gold a second. 6 gold a second. So 360 gold a minute. Just for reference, that's a third the income. Well, a fourth the income of what Recon's currently got. There's good control here. The Citadel Center still managing to survive for the time being. Priests trying to take out these Elder Cyclops. Does manage to snipe down 2 of them. Another one enters into the building here to pick up a unit and try and get some value. And he throws it directly onto that front spot there. Good control from Matador. But Matador with... I am actually a little shook with how much stuff Matador has in queue right now. Considering his gold income. It says it's at 12.69 per minute. It's not. It's going down. If we check that in a minute, it'll go down to that 360. And Recon continues to hold sniping. Another Cyclops. Sniping. Wait, with 15 priests, it takes 4 volleys. Now, that is 0.8 seconds, so not 4 seconds, but 4 volleys to take out a Mythic Age Cyclops. There you go. The more you know. Now, one thing here that I think Matador is making a big mistake on is he's trying to push through the middle. He needs to be getting this position back. And Recon is actually kind of trolling a little bit here with 4 Camel Riders just kind of chilling. Just sitting idle, just saying, yeah, that's fine. In that moment, Matador, he does tap out and Recon claims the win. This was such a strange game to watch. I think it's just like Recon just was like, all right, I'll take that slice of land. I'll take that slice of land. I'm going to prevent you taking that slice of land. And even though, for the most part here, I think Recon couldn't really win fights. Maybe I'm wrong on that. Maybe he won some. We can take a quick look and see exactly what was happening in the military resource value. Like right here, we have a fight. Both players kind of falling. Here, both players kind of falling, even though Matador drops down to 1,700 here. This drops down to 3,000. So both players kind of losing. Here, both players kind of losing. Here, it does kind of look like Matador is the big loser here. But after this, Recon loses. Matador does lose a fight. Matador loses a fight. But this was all population. Yeah, this is such a bizarre game. I don't even know what to say. Just control from Recon. Every single gold mine. All the far gold mines. And just no... I think if Matador had secured, say, this gold mine at the top. How? I don't know. Maybe walling it up or something. I don't know. Getting up there early and preventing the villagers from being over there. Putting some sort of line of sight up there. Maybe going up to this gold mine first and saving this gold mine for later. Those sort of options. If he'd done that, I think he probably has a route to victory here, but didn't. And that's the game. If you guys enjoyed it, please consider the follow on the Twitch. If you're on the YouTube, hit that subscribe button, and I will see you guys in the next game.